I'm Daniel, and this is Cassiun Langfield, and today we're being open-minded. So Cassiun, I'll start off. What was your mentality like when you were playing football, and what was your biggest struggle on the mindset things?
So I think when it comes down to me playing football, and I think, the years I spent playing football, the levels I got to in football, I think it's if you're not 100% dedicated to something, I don't think it's ever going to work out. And I think if you don't give, everything in your life to it, you're never going to be successful in it, because there's people out there that are doing it. And when they talk about 0.01% of footballers that make it, that's only to the level of, getting a pro contract. From there, I think it's probably, and then it's about 0.000, you know what I mean? It's a much...
Would you say there's a lot of pressure in that?
I don't think it's the pressure, really. I think it's because when people touch a certain age, and people get to the age of 17, when people start going, when their friends from school going out, and, their friends are doing the fun things, enjoyable things in life, I think, people envy that. And if they haven't got the mindset and the dedication to say, I want to give this 100%, then they're not going to give it 100%.
So are you saying when it comes to becoming a successful professional footballer, it literally is football or nothing?
Yeah.
So when you were in the academy and you got your scholarship, what was it like with your mindset, when you realised maybe I don't want to be 100% dedicated to this?
I remember because it was COVID year, so under 15s I had a pretty terrible season, and we did under 15s and 16s, so when we were the youngers in the team, I wasn't particularly, I didn't really have a great season. I wasn't, really playing much. And then obviously we had 2-year contracts, so I was there till 16 regardless anyway, so then I had my year of getting a scholarship. And obviously then COVID broke out, so we was all in lockdown. And all I thought to myself was, if I've got nothing else to do, I've not really got, what is my life trajectory? I've been in academy football since the age of 8 years old. What else is there to do for me if I don't do football? Give it for my younger self, really. And then, so during lockdown, I think I was at training. I was by myself on Power League field, on the grass pitch with whatever goal they had up, I'd use. Training by myself from 8 a.m, bike down there from my house till 5 p.m, bike home, do all my runs, get everything in. That was the mindset. The mindset was whatever, regardless it is, I will give 100% to it. And that was probably, that 16 season there was the best season I had, I think. By Christmas, I'd been given my scholarship. We didn't get our scholars till March because of COVID, so I'd been given an early scholarship. I was playing FA Youth Cup in and around with the first team, and that's probably the best season of football I had. And that's when I had the mindset of this is all or nothing. It was the best season I had. And you can say what you want. You can say what you want, brother. But when it comes to that decision, when you went, I don't know if this life is for me, just be open with us and tell us why that is. So I think when I got so during year 10, obviously we went to school together, year 9, 10, throughout up until about year 11 COVID, I didn't really try hard in school. I didn't really give school any energy, any effort. And then COVID broke out, and I think when I started giving football effort and giving everything to football, it kind of changed my life, and I gave everything to everything I did. So then school, I gave everything. I left school with predominantly 8s and 9s and a couple 7s. I got really good grades at school, which I was predicted 3s and 4s at the start of year 10. So, and then I think the mindset I had for football came into every aspect of my life. And then obviously when I got that scholarship, went to my first day of pre-season, was the same day we got A-level results day. No, I went to a training session in pre-season hours after results day and was with the first team. And I had by far the best grades of my team. And then I sat there thinking to myself, do I really have to give it all in me? Do I really have everything in me to give this to football when I could, go to sixth form, get A-levels, go to university, get a degree, see where that takes me. And I think the main aspect of that was I was looking at the people above me, so the years above me at Burton Albion, that I thought were, excellent football players. One player I'll say, Yewa, one of the best footballers I've seen play football, striker, phenomenal football player, didn't get given a pro contract. And then, life had it, he had to go work jobs and find a different route in life. And, I think that kind of really stuck with me in my head. I thought, if I don't give this everything, and I don't make it, then what have I got? I've got A-levels, I've not got a uni degree, and most of the players from my team now are bricklayers or, you know, working basic entry-level jobs where there's not really much opportunity to grow in that. And I think that's something that, you know, terrified me in life, because I thought, is that really a life that I want to live? And seeing everyone from the years above me live that life, it kind of changed my perspective.
Did you decide that? So I'm understanding it because it's those foundations of having an education, having something, I guess, what they say to fall back onto. But why did you go, I'm not going to try balance maybe the both? Like you say, it's one or the other, I guess. But that's the question, really. So did you think it was one or the other, and you thought, I don't think the football world's for me. I think I'm going to get an education and see where that takes me.
I thought to myself that I saw people play football that were phenomenal football players that didn't make it. And I thought to myself, really, it was a self-doubt thing. I thought to myself, regardless if I think I'm good enough, it's not really my choice if I make it or not. It's not really in my control, because, you know, academy managers may not like you, this, that and the other. And, you know, it's not really an excuse. It's more just I thought there was, even if I was to have made it and got a pro, the loads of people, and I played pro football for a year and stuck with my scholarship. And then, you know, I'm 21 then at the end of all of that. And I've, you know, and then what happens? Does another club sign you, or do you go play non-league football where the money, you know, it's decent money, but it's not life-changing money. And by the time you're 35, that money's gone regardless. And I think, you know, that's not a life that I really wanted to live. And I thought to myself, it wasn't really if I had the mindset to give 100%. It was more if I wanted to give 100% to it, because the doubts were already in my head. And when there's doubts in your head about something, you're not going to give 100% regardless.
You made that choice of football isn't for you, in a way.
I didn't believe that the opportunities to make it professional and make a career out of football came from Burton Albion. And I didn't really want my life trajectory to be in the hands of another man. And I kind of just thought to myself, regardless if I think I'm good enough, regardless if I am good enough, regardless of anything, my whole life is down to the opinions of other people. And I kind of think I wanted to grasp life with my own choices and make my own decisions, and only really have myself to hold accountable for things. And that was really my main thing, and that's my whole thing now in life. You know, any decisions I make, I have me to hold accountable for. And I think, you know, you see players make it, you see players, you know, who are 14, 15, you see them at school and they're playing academy football, and then they get to 16 and they either get dropped and then they're just like everyone else, or they get their scholarship. And I think this is probably the worst for football players. They get their scholarship, they go to a BTEC course, which isn't particularly great, and it doesn't really set you up for life in any shape or form at all. And I think it's really just, it leaves people left with nothing at the end of it.
What would you say that potentially could be put in place so it doesn't feel like it's kind of one or the other, and you could have an education alongside doing football where you could go through the scholarship? Like, what would you have, is there anything you think you would have liked to have been in place when you were at Burton specifically, where you would have felt happy to continue with the scholarship because you felt like you would have come out with something even if it wasn't a professional contract?
I don't think that BTEC sports degree should be mandatory for everyone to do. I think it's something that people should choose. And if, you know, I'm not disrespecting people that aren't, you know, very academically gifted. Everyone's different. Everyone's great at something, right? But I think if you're not academically, you know, if you don't want to do anything else, if you want to do that BTEC sports degree, which is pretty easy and takes minimal effort, then 100% I think that that's something you should do. But I think if you're one of these people which are academically gifted, I think you should be given the option to not do that BTEC degree. Whilst everyone else is doing school time, you're doing education, you're learning A-levels, you're given tutors, and you're given a chance to, you know, do what everyone else is doing, getting A-levels, getting, you know, working towards, you know, so if football does fail, you can fall back and go have a degree to go to, where you can, you know, go to a good university and get a good degree in whatever you wish to do. And I think that's something that I think they should really focus on in football, because lots of people that get scholarships are just left with nothing at the end of it. And that's my personal opinion.
So what would you say to someone right now who's in the shoes you were in, who has this opportunity where there's potential to become a professional footballer, but they also want to have a stable life, a life where they are happy with, like what you did. You chose to go towards the education route because you felt that was more for you. What would you say to that person who is in that conflict in their mind, which you were in?
I think if you want to become a professional football player and that's your main goal in life and that you don't see yourself becoming anything else, I think when your friends are out there, because when you're 16 and you're a scholar, you're getting paid monthly money. You don't really have many expenses because everything's really paid for. Your travel's paid for. You eat at the stadium. You go home. You're going home about 6 p.m. There's nothing really for you to spend your money on throughout the week. So when all your friends are going out on a weekend, getting drunk, you should not be anywhere near a nightclub. You should be you should be at home in bed resting to get up early in the morning, go to the gym, go to play football, go train yourself, or you should be in the gym at night by yourself. And I think it's a lot of lonely hours which people need to be aware that they're gonna have to give, otherwise you're not gonna make. You can't fool the system. You can't pretend. You can't get somewhere with not giving the effort. And that 10,000 hour thing, I think, is a perfect example of it. I think even 10,000 hours isn't enough. I think if you want to be at the level of football where you're making enough money for you to have a stable life afterwards, because that's the main thing. Even if I gave 100%, I don't believe that I would have been able to get to the level. I think I could have played professional football, League One, League Two, but I don't think I would have got to the level of Championship, let's say, where they're making enough money where, regardless of football, once they retire, they've got enough money to live off for the rest of their life. And I think if you think you can get to that level, give 100% to that. You can't. There's no in between. There's no like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out with my friends. Of course, have a night with your friends from time to time, but majority of the time you need to be 100% focused on that craft, because it's a craft at the end of the day and you need to master it and you need to be better than the other person. Because I promise you, whilst you're out partying, even if it's one night a month, there's some kid somewhere else who's by himself in the gym. There's some kid by himself watching videos, learning the game better and better. And I think that's something that you need to really think about if you want to get to that level where you are financially stable for the rest of your life in football. Because there's only a few footballers that get to that level, and there's billions of children that want to become football players, but you don't see billions of people making the money to survive after football. And that's, I think, my whole view on the scholarship system.
One last question, brother. With that decision you made a couple of years ago, and with this present moment right now, are you happy with having to go in? And do you feel like you've made that decision and it's the right one for you?
I haven't spent a second of my life regretting. Actually, tell a lie. I regret one part of that. Not regret one part. I missed one thing about being a scholar and having, playing football, and that's just exercise. Because I was forced to do exercise, right? You know how horrible it is to get up and run or go to the gym and get up and go to the gym by yourself, right? When there's no real end goal to it. There's no if I go to the gym for 100 hours or 2 hours a week, there's no benefit to my lifestyle by the way I look. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I was going to play football, the benefit was potential to become a football player, make money off it. There's no monetary value to doing this. 100% you got to find your new why. And I think, I spent years, I think recently I've come to figure out why. Do you know what I mean? What I want to do with my life, and come to terms with that and realise what I want to do. And I've ever since then putting things in play to do so. And I think, other than that, the exercise, there's nothing I really regret. But I would do the same thing 100 times over, I believe. And I don't think there's a single, when people say stuff to me about like, why did you quit playing football? And I say to them, it wasn't for me. I don't really think anything else of it, because I don't think there's been a minute where I've regretted the decision I made. And I think I made that decision and, with a lot of thinking behind it. And, there's no point in dwelling on the past, because it's gone now. You can't change it.
Exactly, man. Well, thank you for coming on, brother. Thank you for being open-minded. Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate it.